Welcome to the Impact Lounge. You are in the number one place to be for the Impact Wrestling fan. This is the Cool Factor Podcast, and I'm your host, TW, flying solo this week. BQ has some previous obligations he had to attend to, but don't worry, I'm going to hold us down. I'm going to get us through, okay? So before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and smash that like button, that little thumbs up right there, so that everybody knows that you like this video, you like this content. I'll wait. All right. Now that you hit the like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you are subscribed to the channel. And go ahead and hit that little bell, the notification bell, to make sure you get notified each and every time we drop some new fire content on this page. All right. So, without any hesitation, without any delay, let's get right into the biggest story in wrestling this week. Once again, similar to last week, the biggest story in wrestling this week comes from outside of the world of Impact. The biggest story in wrestling this week, unless you've been under a rock, was that WWE had another bloodletting. They had another just, crazy release of talent. I believe it was 18 names in all who got released in this latest round of cuts. And in this one, there were some interesting names. Keith Lee was released. Karrion Kross was released. Nia Jax was released. It also included Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Mia Yim, Eva Marie, Harry Smith, B-Fab from Hit Row, Frankie Monet, who we know as Taya Valkyrie, Ember Moon, Scarlett, Oni Lorcan, Trey Baxter, Jesse Kamea, Zeta Ramier, I don't know who that is, Katrina Cortez, and Jeet Rama. Okay, all those people were let go from NXT, and in NXT and the main roster combined. And so as always, because this is an Impact-focused podcast, we look at these things, and the first question we want to ask is, how might this affect me as an Impact Wrestling fan? How might these releases, how might this affect Impact Wrestling? And I think that for Impact, these releases are actually a good thing. I'm going to tell you why. As we've discussed before, Impact is a developmental brand right now. It's a developmental territory. Impact is a place where people come to get their skills up, get their act right, build a name for themselves in the hopes that they can go out and get signed by a bigger company like AEW or WWE. And as you just heard with that list of names that I read off, there's a lot of talents here who really are unestablished, who really do need a chance to get in the ring and show what they can do more. And so I think there's a lot of people here who would really benefit from a run in Impact Wrestling. They don't have to necessarily come in and be a top flight program, but if you go from getting no play on NXT to coming to have a role on Impact, you might really find yourself. You might find that there's actually a diamond in the rough, somebody who just needed a chance to get some TV time, get some reps, and they can make the most out of them. I think we're seeing something like that right now with Brian Myers. I think Brian Myers is somebody who, was always, treated as somebody who couldn't win in WWE. He never really got a serious look at doing anything in WWE. And now, Impact's giving him his own faction, his own group to run with, and I think he's doing a great job with it. By the way, if this hoodie is distracting you, I don't know what to tell you, okay? The truth is, I need to go see my barber badly, so y'all gonna get Hoodie TW today, all right? That's how we living. It's Hoodie TW today, because I need to go see my barber, okay? You know what I mean? I ain't trying to be out here in these internet streets with this shaggy situation I got going on, all right? I need to get it touched up. So after I go see the good homie, then, I get back to giving y'all all this beautifulness that I got going on up top. Right now, it's not beautiful. Trust me, it's not beautiful right now. So y'all gonna get Hoodie TW, all right? So back to the lecture at hand. All right. I think that, a lot of these releases actually could be great for Impact because if there's one thing Impact really needs, they need to just freshen up the week to week matchups. So you start cycling in some of these guys who you may not know. They may not be household names and you may not see them as like main eventers, but maybe it's someone who could come in and have some great matches for the X Division title. Maybe somebody who come in and then just have some great matches in the middle of the card or just, again, just freshen up the show. If you're Impact, look at your guys who you plan on keeping long term. And then bring in some of these people for some fresh matchups, and let's just have some good, fun matchups that fans are going to enjoy and that people will talk about online. Like, oh, I didn't see this person since they were released from NXT, but they showed up on Impact and they had a fire match. So I think it's a great opportunity for them and for Impact. So I think Impact could actually grab a lot of these people. Now, grab them in spurts. Maybe not sign people to like long-term exclusive deals, but, bring them in, let them come in and work a set of tapings and see how they do, see how they're received. And, and if you like them, then you bring them back for more. But there are some people on this list who actually could be top of the card talent for Impact. For one, Taya, you know what I mean? Listen, now I got a feeling Taya's going to go to AEW just because when it comes to Impact, she's been there, done that. But I think now the Impact's women's division is getting, a little better. Tasha Steelz is coming into her own. Deonna Purrazzo, she's just coming off a great run. Mickie James is back. I don't know for how long. And I think if you were to add Taya into that mix, now you're looking at, a whole different type of deal. Nia Jax, I think she would be good for WWE, but I don't necessarily, good for Impact, but I don't necessarily see them bringing her in. Because she's probably a little bit too high priced for them. And she also tweeted some stuff about, going through some personal things right now. And so, I don't know if this would be the right time for her to get back to wrestling. She might, sit back, take some time and think about what her next move is going to be. So we might not see Nia Jax back in the ring anytime soon, but, we certainly wish her the best and and just getting herself together so that she can, move on with her career, move on with her life. Maybe she's done with wrestling. I'm sure she's made plenty of money in WWE, and maybe she wants to do something else. We'll never know. But I always liked her work. I think there's a great place for someone who just plays like that monster role and just can destroy anybody because they're bigger than everybody, they're stronger than everybody, and they got a real genuine looking mean streak. You can't teach that. You can't teach that. They try, but you can't teach that. And Nia Jax has that. She's like a Braun Strowman. And speaking of Braun Strowman is another name. Of somebody who is currently available. And I saw a lot of reports that said that Scott D'Amore had been negotiating with Braun Strowman to try and bring him in for Bound for Glory, and it didn't happen. And I gotta tell you, I'm actually kind of glad about that. It's not that I'm glad that Braun Strowman didn't show up in Impact. I'm glad that Scott D'Amore didn't just turn over, a blank check and say, hey, whatever you want, just come on to Impact. Because I'm pretty sure that Braun Strowman was commanding, a pretty high price tag. That was one of the things that, he had spoken about being very proud about, just getting a deal and getting that reassurance he was like a top guy in WWE. And getting that assurance comes along with getting, a higher paycheck. And so I'm pretty sure he wasn't going to just come to Impact and work for next to nothing, work for peanuts or work for something that's just below what he feels like he deserves. So I'm glad that Scott D'Amore didn't just, empty the bank to get a star name. I think Braun Strowman is great, but I don't know that he's going to be the difference in, moving the needle that much, right? Like, you saw the big draw, the big pop that Kenny Omega was with that first appearance on Impact. I don't think Braun Strowman would do anything like that. And if you're not going to do something like that, at least even for one day, then there's no way you can command but so much money from Impact Wrestling. So yeah, I think that, and there's some other talents here like Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. Listen, I know that, Kross and Scarlett didn't have a great experience with Impact the first time they came through. But, now that you've gone out and kind of made a name for yourself, I could see them getting together and doing some business again. if I'm Cross, I don't know that I want to try to dip my toe into AEW. AEW has already shown that they don't really know what to do with a big muscly guy as far as the talent goes. Um, I, and the last run-in he had with Adam Cole was disastrous. Disastrous. When Adam Cole cut that promo on Karrion Kross on NXT, you all know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, all you gotta do is look it up. Adam Cole just destroyed Karrion Kross on the mic, and he never looked the same after that. So if I'm Karrion Kross, I'm staying the hell away from Adam Cole and a live microphone because it was bad. It was bad, and Kross didn't have like a quick comeback, and I think if he had the right comeback, nice and quick, it would have been fine. But Kross was just standing there staring holes, laser beams right through Adam Cole's chest. But the whole time, Adam Cole was just destroying him with his words. And it just made Kross look so bad. So if I'm Kross, I don't want no problems. I don't want no smoke with Adam Cole. I ain't going nowhere near AEW. So I think there's a great chance we can see Kross and Keith Lee show up in Impact. So I think Keith Lee's going to AEW actually. Keith Lee, his whole thing is, I'm this big dude, I look like a defensive tackle, but I move, like a shortstop. You know what I mean? And it's an amazing thing to see, you know what I mean? But that's the type of thing that AEW goes for. So I think I could actually see Keith Lee showing up in AEW. But if he did want to, try his hand in Impact, I think that could be great. And if I'm Impact, I would book a bunch of these big names as much as you can. Bring them in. But they have to lose to your home talent. I stand by that. Book these big talents, bring them in, make them feel like a big deal. But at the end of the day, they have to lose to the Mooses of the world, to the Josh Alexanders of the world, to the Trey McGales of the world. You know what I mean? You got to keep your home people strong. So bring in these people, let them, come in and show what they can do and get their own value up. But just don't sacrifice the people that you're building for your audience. So I'd love to see, some of these people show up, at Hard to Kill. I'd like to hear some nice reactions from a live crowd, getting some surprise names that they know, or even if it's not a surprise, right? Like, you could advertise it right now. If you could sign up Keith Lee and you tell me that the main event of Hard to Kill is going to be Moose versus Keith Lee, you can start selling them tickets right now. Start selling them right now. I think that'll do a great job towards getting a building sold out for an Impact main event that people would want to see. You know what I mean? You're talking about two big guys who are super athletes, and listen, if you can sign a big name and advertise it far out in advance, they don't even have to appear on your TV until the day of the match. And I still think it'll be a big deal, and I think the crowd will go crazy for it. So, I hope Scott D'Amore is working the phones, burning the phones up, and setting up some big matches for the Impact fans going forward. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. In the comment section below, drop your name and where you're from, and tell us who you think is, the biggest, most surprising release that we saw in the recent WWE releases, and tell us who you might like to see in Impact. Tell us if there's anybody who you think would be a good matchup. Like I just said, I think Keith Lee and Moose could be a big matchup. I think again you could bring Taya in and let her work with this whole women's division again. So there's a lot out there, but I want to hear what you guys think. So go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. Another thing that I liked from Impact this week was I got to see a match for the #1 contendership for the Digital Media Championship. It was Chelsea Green versus John Skyler. And I watched it on Twitter. I just happened to, be on Twitter, and I saw an advertisement for the match. So I clicked on it, and I gotta say, I really like this. And the thing that I liked about this wasn't necessarily the match, although the match was good. It was a nice, fun, quick match. It was easily digestible. The whole thing was a little over 3 minutes long. And so when you're on Twitter and you're just scrolling, if you click something, you watch it, consume it, you get the whole thing, and it's done, and it's, like I said, a little over 3 minutes long. Listen, that's the type of content that people consume. It's easily consumable and digestible for people. So people will share that, right? Because you don't have to sit down for 10, 12 minutes and, watch the ups and downs and ebbs and flows of a match. If all the digital media championship matches are going to kind of follow this type of format, I think you got a chance to have something that's very successful. You give people a shot to go out there, see how much good stuff they can do within a condensed amount of time. You could be onto something here. So, we'll see how this develops, but just seeing that one match, that was something I really liked. All right, so now let's get into this week's episode of Impact. This week from Impact, we had on BTI, we have Brian Myers and the Learning Tree versus Sam Bill, Rich Swann, and Willie Mack. After being on the receiving end of a 3-on-1 beatdown from his former teacher, Brian Myers and the Learning Tree, Sam Bill found some unlikely allies in Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Bill headbutted Zicky Dice to the floor. Myers distract Bill, allowing BSK to gain control with a running dropkick. Now that Bill is down, Myers tags himself in and continues the assault. Bill creates separation with a spine buster to Myers. Then he gets the tag to Rich Swann. Then the pace picks up, leading to a tree. Oh, the Learning Tree. Hold on. Willie Mack dives on the Learning Tree outside, and Myers counters with the handspring cutter from Rich Swann into a sit-down driver. Then Rich Swann hit the handspring cutter before making the tag to Bill, who pinned Brian Myers with a roster cut. So Sam Bill getting some revenge on Brian Myers and the Learning Tree. And that led us into this episode of Impact, which kicked off with Steve Maclin versus Rohit Raju and Raj Singh against Laredo Kid, and it was them and versus Black Taurus with Crazy Steve in a number one contenders match for the X Division Championship. So, who'll be next challenge Trey Miguel for the X Division Championship? We found out in this four-way clash the action was fast and furious from the beginning bell, as Rohit takes out Maclin with a dive. Then Laredo Kid hits Taurus with a Hurricane Rana from the top rope. Laredo hits a top rope moonsault, colliding with everyone on the outside. Raj gets involved from ringside, allowing Rohit to take control. Taurus hits Maclin with a pop-up Samoan drop, but Laredo breaks the pin with a springboard swanton. Moments later, Laredo almost puts Taurus away with a springboard splash. Rohit hits a flatliner on Laredo for 2. Laredo comes back and hits Rohit with a driver for 3. So Laredo Kid beat Rohit Raju, Steve Maclin, and Black Taurus to become the number one contender for the X Division Championship. After the match, Trey Miguel came to the ring to shake hands with Laredo Kid. Then Steve Maclin attacks them both from behind, but Trey and Laredo work together to send the big man retreating up the ramp. So I don't know. I think all these multi-man matches is not great for the X Division. It's not that multi-man matches aren't good, but I think if you have, if you're constantly having matches with 3 people, I feel like it's hard to care about any one person, right? Like, you gotta give us time to actually care about these characters, care about their storylines, and then when you put more than 2 in a ring, then you add confusion, because we're like, all right, well, I know that these 2 are going this way, they have this type of story, but now you just add in that third element, and now I don't know, right? But if all we're getting is these 3-way matches, it's kind of taking away the novelty of it, right? If everything's a triple threat, nothing's a triple threat, right? So, I don't know. I want to get back to more, more one-on-one matches, that can reestablish that these individual X Division guys are, good performers, and are more than just, multi-man flippy matches. So let's get back to, more of that style of X Division championship match. All right. In an interview with Gia Miller, Madison Rayne declares victory over Knockouts World Champion Mickie James tonight. Gia has heard that Madison is also set to host Locker Room Talk with the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, The Inspiration, but Madison doesn't know what she's talking about. Then Gia Miller interviews Ace Austin and Madman Fulton before Fulton goes one-on-one with Chris Sabin tonight. Ace brags about beating Sabin himself last week. Ace reveals that his new t-shirt reads, "I beat Chris Sabin." Then we get Violent by Design in the ring with Eric Young, who is now medically cleared to compete. Young talks about how Rhino made the wrong decision when he betrayed Violent by Design and reunited with Heath. Young says that it's once again time for the master of violence to get his hands dirty, and it starts right now. Then Young's opponent comes to the ring, and it's local competitors from the Las Vegas area, someone named Jai Vidal. And let's see, Young claims that Jai has the disease, but he can give him the cure. And Eric Young made quick work of Vidal as he hit a power bomb out of the corner, followed by the pile driver to win. All right, so the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, The Inspiration, arrived to the set of Locker Room Talk, but it becomes apparent that they were set up by the former champs Decay. Havoc and Rosemary played mind games with Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay as the words "turning point" appear written on the mirror. So that's going to be our next setup for the Knockouts Tag Team title. Moments later, Gia Miller interviews The Inspiration. Cassie Lee's game plan is to fight Ghost with Ghost, and she begins the search for the undead bridesmaids, Kimberly and Brandy Loren. Next, we got the Impact World Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers, versus FinJuice. FinJuice look to get themselves back in the Impact World Tag Team title hunt as they face off against the champs in a non-title match. Juice knocks Gallows off the apron, but the distraction allows Anderson to toss him to the outside. Gallows delivers a big boot to Juice on the floor. Gallows wears Juice down with a grueling headlock. Juice fights out of it with a jawbreaker to create separation and make the tag. The pace quickens as Finlay takes out Gallows with a springboard crossbody. Finlay hits a backbreaker on Anderson for 2. Anderson avoids the Doomsday device, leading to a flurry of action that takes everyone off their feet. Out of nowhere, the Bullet Club hits the ring, bringing the match to an abrupt end. So we got a schmaz when Chris Bay, Hikuleo, and El Phantasmo jump in and lay everybody out. It feels like we're going back to a triple threat with these guys. And again, just give us some good matches. Like, everything doesn't have to be, this triple threat stuff. I feel like when you put so many acts into one match, it's hard to really care about any one act. So we'll see. All right. Hernandez tells Johnny Swinger that he can help him raise money to open a new Swingers Palace in Las Vegas. Scott D'Amore tells FinJuice that they'll be facing the Bullet Club in an Impact World Tag Team Titles #1 Contenders match next week. Next, we got the Knockouts Championship match as Mickie James defended against Madison Rayne with Caleb with a K. And let's see, one of the greatest rivalries in Knockouts history was renewed as the Knockouts World Champion Mickie James defended her title against Madison Rayne. Mickie was in control as Caleb tries to pull Madison to safety. Mickie drags her back in the ring and hits a flapjack. Madison distracts the referee, allowing Caleb to push Mickie off the top rope. Madison hits a flurry of kicks, followed by a neck breaker to turn the tide. Mickie turns her attention to Caleb once again, and Madison capitalizes with a ripcord cutter for 2. Caleb tries to slap Mickie as retaliation for what she did to him last week, but he misses and hits the steel ring post. Mickie takes Caleb out of the equation by tossing him into the steps, and in the ring, Mickie soars off the top rope and pins Madison for the win. All right. What else we got here? Oh, after the match, Mercedes Martinez came out to confront Mickie James and remind her that she won the Knockouts Knockdown tournament to earn a Knockouts World title opportunity. Martinez announces that she will be challenging Mickie for the Knockouts World title on November 20th at Turning Point. The Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, The Inspiration, find the undead bridesmaids in the back and ask them if they want to face Decay on their behalf next week. Kimberly and Brandi Lauren seem interested as their search for fresh souls continues. All right. So, Josh Alexander, Eddie Edwards, and Matt Cardona tell Gia Miller in a backstage interview that they all want the same thing, a shot at the Impact World Champion Moose. But tonight, they must be on the same page as they team up in a 6-man tag match against Moose, W. Morrissey, and New Japan Pro Wrestling legend Minoru Suzuki. Back to the ring, we got Madman Fulton with Ace Austin against Chris Sabin. Sabin seeks revenge on Madman Fulton for costing him the Collier Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory and his match against Ace Austin last week. Sabin uses his speed to his advantage to send Fulton to the floor. Sabin goes for a dive but is caught in midair and chokeslammed on the apron. Fulton remains in control with a jumping clothesline off the second rope. Sabin launches himself off the second rope, taking Fulton off his feet. With a crossbody to the outside, Sabin counters a swinging slam, then rolls up Fulton to score the victory. Man, has Madman Fulton... When's the last time Madman Fulton won a match? It's they have really, taken the shine off of this guy. All right, let's see. Turning Point's coming up on November 20th. All right, that's an advertisement. All right, so we got Moose with W. Morrissey and Minoru Suzuki versus Josh Alexander, Eddie Edwards, and Matt Cardona. Minoru Suzuki made his Impact in-ring debut in one of the most star-studded 6-man tag matches in Impact Wrestling history. Edwards, Alexander, and Cardona have the momentum following a flurry of dives to the floor. Cardona hits Moose with a top rope missile dropkick. Suzuki locks in an armbar on Cardona, allowing Moose to turn the tide. Moose, Morrissey, and Suzuki wear Cardona down as they cut off the ring and employ quick tags. Cardona creates separation with a code breaker to Moose, giving him the opportunity to tag in Alexander. Moose gets sent for a ride as Alexander hits him with the German suplex, one German suplex after another. Morrissey counters the C4 spike, but ends up getting hit with a German suplex instead. Edwards hits Morrissey with the Blue Thunder Bomb for 2. Battle lines have been drawn as both teams exchange strikes in the middle of the ring. Suzuki connects with the Gotch piledriver on Alexander. Morrissey hits Edwards with a thunderous big boot, followed by the powerbomb for the win. So the bad guys got the win on this one, and Impact went off the air with Big Cass celebrating. This was an interesting show. I would say this was, it takes a while to kind of build up storylines and get you back to the exciting place. So you have to have episodes like this where you're setting a lot of stuff up. I think Turning Point looks like it has potential to be a good show. And, I'm looking forward to checking it out. So, what do you guys think? Let us know. Are you guys looking forward to Turning Point? Did you guys think this is a good show? You think it was a little lame? Whatever. Are you guys interested? Let's see. All right. So I was going to take some questions, but I gave an idea to BQ a couple of weeks ago, and I think we're going to do this. I think we're going to go back through the last few episodes of questions, and we're going to just grab a bunch of questions. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to put an episode in the can for, like we got holidays coming up this month and next month. And, there could be times when both of us just are not free to knock out a pod for you. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a all questions pod. And so what I want you guys to do is keep dropping in your questions, okay? Go, right here in the comments below, drop your name and where you're from, and whatever your question is, and we are going to get back to these questions. All right, guys. So I know this was a shorter than usual episode, but I just wanted to make sure that we got something out to you guys this week. Make sure you like it, make sure you share it. Share it with a friend, find somebody who you know who's a wrestling friend. Retweet it, drop this in somebody's inbox, email it to them, post it in their page on Facebook, and most importantly, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's bring more people into the conversation. For BQ, who's not here this week, I'm TW. Peace.